In one of the most eye-opening headlines in recent memory, being reported by Ynet, U.S. demands Israel clear Gaza rubble and foot multi-billion shekel bill. Washington tied the cleanup to launching Gaza's reconstruction under the ceasefire's second phase, with Rafah slated as the first model zone. Israel agreed to take on the physical and financial burden as debris estimates reach 68 million tons. Now, we have seen Donald Trump and his administration take some unprecedented actions against Israel and make some absolutely outrageous statements, but this one takes the cake. In Israel's, how old is Israel? Israel is 78 years old, approaching 78 years old. In Israel's 77 years, we have never had such an outrageous demand from any administration in the United States. This is absolutely wild. Gaza attacks Israel, commits a massacre of horrifying proportions, takes hostages, shoots missiles and rockets into Israel. Israel responds, and now Israel must foot the bill to rebuild Gaza? Could anyone consider anything more outrageous and humiliating than this? People still say that Donald Trump is Israel's friend, greatest friend, any kind of friend. This is absolutely unbelievable. For anyone who still thought that the United States is an ally of Israel, I don't know how you can see things like this and continue saying such things. The United States is pressing Israel to assume responsibility for clearing the vast destruction across the Gaza Strip after 2 years of war. Israel has agreed in principle to the request. Gee, I wonder why, which is expected to cost hundreds of millions of shekels. Who is going to pay for this? We should pay for this? Israeli citizens should pay for this? Israeli citizens who went to the streets on October 7th and fought against the Gazans to protect their homes and their families, they're the ones that should pay for this? How much damage had the Gazans done to Israel, not even just on October 7th, but over the years that they launched missiles into Israel? How much damage did they do to Israel? How much damage has Lebanon done to Israel through their proxy Hezbollah? Israel's going to pay for reconstruction of Gaza. This is, it's almost when you think things couldn't get any more obscene, you see stories like this. Israel's blanketed by 68 million tons of rubble. Oh, gee, I wonder what the Gazans could have done to have made the Jews so upset. I don't know. Phase 2. It's Phase 2. Phase 2 of the ceasefire agreement. Question. Gaza is holding no more live Israeli hostages. Why doesn't Netanyahu tell Donald Trump to go screw himself? Why doesn't he just say that? Why do we need a ceasefire for? Gaza's full of rubble. They have nothing. We have everything. Why should we abide by this ridiculous ceasefire agreement? Why? Because Donald Trump says so. Donald Trump says so. Donald Trump, Gaza's greatest friend. U.S. officials aim to start rebuilding in the Rafah area to showcase what they describe as President Donald Trump's vision for Gaza's recovery. How beautiful. How beautiful. Hoping it will attract displaced residents back to the south. Because, of course, we can't possibly allow the Gazans to leave. Right? God forbid. What? Gazans can't leave. Senior Israeli officials say Washington has demanded that Israel take physical and financial responsibility. Where on earth does Washington, D.C. get the nerve to demand that we rebuild for our enemies? Where did they get the nerve to make these kinds of demands? Because they give us $4 billion a year because of that. Does anybody want to say what Donald Trump and the Americans should do with their $4 billion? Jerusalem has signaled it will comply. Yes. Just like the store owner will agree and comply to pay protection money to the mafia so they don't burn down their store. Right. Even as Qatar's prime minister said publicly, Doha will not refinance building. Why should they? Why should Qatar pay for anything? They've already bought the White House, so the White House can just make Israel pay for everything. Right? Doha, Qatar owns the White House, so now they don't have to pay for anything. They'll just make Israel do it. Prime Minister's office did not comment. Gee, I wonder why. I suppose they don't want to see a civil war in the street, perhaps. Meanwhile, U.S. pressure on Israel is intensifying. Of course, our greatest ally. Yes. What do they tell us? Hey, Trump has to be America first. He can't always put Israel first. I see that. He's putting America first by rebuilding Gaza. Got it. Makes perfect sense to me. Sure. Israel will not advance to the next stage without the return of the body of one hostage left. And if we get it back, we should rebuild Gaza? Let me say this. My intention is to kick the United States out of Israel for reasons like this, for reasons just like this. And let me say that Donald Trump is doing a wonderful job of pushing every Israeli into my camp, into my side of the column. If his goal is to completely sever the relationship between Israel and the United States, Donald Trump is doing a wonderful job, and I thank him for it, because this makes my argument extremely easy. The U.S. hopes to deploy an international stabilization force. Yeah, what does that mean? That means foreign soldiers on Israeli soil. Sure, why not? Why not? My goodness. A U.S. general will command the force. Right. We have a U.S. general commanding a force of Arab armies on Israel's border. Gee, what could possibly go wrong? Prime Minister Netanyahu has expressed skepticism. They won't dismantle Hamas's military capability on its own. Wow. Israeli officials say Washington appears increasingly focused on reconstruction, while giving less attention to demilitarization. Sure. Rebuild Gaza. The Arabs keep their weapons. We bring in more Arabs, more Arab armies. They'll stay there forever. They'll launch more rockets. They'll launch more of everything. Trump, he'll unveil the makeup of the Board of Peace. Oh, the Board of Peace. Oh, that's so wonderful. Wow. Even Barack Obama was not this brain dead. Even Barack Obama was not this brain dead. The Board of Peace. Oh, we're going to have peace. It's so great. Wow. He describes one of the most legendary boards ever. Oh my God. Wow. It is amazing, sad, but amazing that we don't have one single Knesset member of 120 that can tell Donald Trump what he should do with his Board of Peace. But don't worry, there might soon be. We will discuss later why there soon might be a few Knesset members that will tell Donald Trump this directly. But we'll no spoilers yet. And yeah, I was going to discuss the ceasefire plan. A security arrangement with Syria. Oh, yes, I have to remember about the news just, I believe, yesterday that 2 American soldiers were killed in Syria. Well, I suppose that if Donald Trump wants to push ceasefires on us, I guess this is what happens. America lifted the sanctions on Syria, I believe, also. And what did they get in return? 2 dead American soldiers. Congratulations. The families of those 2 dead soldiers, they should send a thank you card to Donald Trump. 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. That's the address. Send your thank you card to Donald Trump. All right, Turkey's role. Turkey, why not? Of course. Well, sure, Turkey should have a role. Why not? Absolutely. Yeah, they said they're going to liberate Jerusalem and kill all the Jews. Sure, bring Turkey on. That's a great idea. The U.S. is an absolute clown show. And this should make it more obvious by the day practically. We get more and more reasons why we need to leave the United States behind. They're cancer. You want to know the truth? The United States is cancer for Israel. Terminal cancer. We have to get rid of them. We have to get rid of the United States. Pushing hard for Turkey. Yeah, sure. Is this the end of the article? Okay. Now this headline is amazing because it goes to show that other countries are starting to notice the same thing that we have as well. It's not just about Israel, interestingly. Danish intelligence accuses U.S. of using economic power to assert its will over allies. Thank you. Thank you. I'm glad other countries are starting to notice the same thing. The U.S. is also listed as a threat due to its interest in Greenland. Yeah, the U.S. wants to seize Greenland. Sure. No one else can take any other territory except the United States. The United States can take whatever land they want from anybody. Got it. The comments made in its annual assessment released this week marked the first time that the Danish Defense Intelligence Service has listed the U.S. as a threat to the country. You know what? Maybe Israel should have a conference, a meeting with the Danes. Maybe the Danes can explain to Netanyahu and the rest of the Israelis what a threat the United States is. Denmark recognizes it. Why doesn't Israel? The report says the U.S. is now using its economic and technological strength as a means of power, including against its allies and partners. And I will say, not including against its allies and partners, exclusively against its allies and partners. Donald Trump uses threats exclusively against U.S. allies and partners. Only. Ukraine, Israel, other Western European countries, Muslim countries, Donald Trump has only wonderful things to say about all of them, every single one of them. Even China. That Donald Trump is a thug and a bully and low IQ. Frankly, he's low IQ. He has no idea what the hell he's doing. As evidenced by the fact that Syria is killing U.S. soldiers now. Unbelievable. But it's great to see the Danes have publicly stated this. Yeah, the U.S. simply cannot be trusted. The U.S. cannot be trusted whatsoever. I don't know if it's worth going through this entire thing. The United States is leveraging economic power, including threats of high tariffs, to assert its will, and possibly of employing military force. Yes, even against allies, is no longer ruled out. The U.S. under Donald Trump specifically is a menace. Now, to be honest, the U.S. has been strong-arming Israel for decades. The Oslo agreements, the disengagement in 2005, the Sinai, forcing Israel to return the Sinai to Egypt in 1982. This has been going back decades and decades and decades. But now it's become so blatant, so over the top. There is no possible way to reconcile. There simply isn't. The Americans don't want a relationship with Israel. That is obvious. Because this is absolutely berserk. Berserk. Israel must rebuild, must pay, and must rebuild Gaza? Wow. Wow. My goodness. How badly I wish I was in the Knesset just to reply to Donald Trump on this one. My goodness. And all of them, Ben Gvir, Smotrich, they just sit there with a grin from ear to ear. Nothing to say. Nothing to say at all. No comment. No comment. On this, there's no comment. But as I hinted to earlier, we are starting the Israel First Party in Israel. Not certain it will be part of the upcoming election in 10 months or so, but the party will be registered. We will be building it from the ground up. As I told my partner in this endeavor, you see, had we built a party 5 years ago, we would have a party today to vote for. Now, everyone wants to run around and say, who do we vote for now? Who do we vote for now? Yeah, go and vote for whoever you think is correct. But accept this truth. If we don't build a party for us, we will never have a party to vote for. We will simply go from one election to the next by saying, at least this guy's better than this guy. Now is the time, and we are doing it. You want to see what our party's about? IsraelFirstParty.com. IsraelFirstParty.com. Check it out. Join in the section below, whether you live in Israel or not. If you live in Israel, we need 120 founders. Doesn't cost money, but to basically sign up and effectively become a founding member of the party, which is helpful for sure. But even if you don't live in Israel, there are ways to join and help out, because as we see, America's not going away. America's going to continue to twist Israel's arm, steal away our wealth, keep our enemies at our doorstep, embolden them, and rebuild for them. This is land that belongs to us. This is land that would have put trillions of dollars into our pockets. And America is keeping it away from us at all costs. And there's no reason that we should sit by and allow this to happen. If you care about Israel, if you really want to see a great country, if you want to see greater Israel and great Israel and a prosperous Israel and a strong Israel, this is the way to do it. IsraelFirstParty.com.